top 10 things Disney doesn't want you to see. Number 10. Starting off with likely the most notable occurrence of oversight on the streaming stage so far is the 1984 film Splash featuring Tom Hanks and his cheerful undertakings with a mermaid. In the first form of the film, there is an extremely concise scene where the entertainer Daryl Hannah is seen running stripped into the sea, her butt obvious to the camera. In multiple times, this earned the film a PG rating, likely because of the reality there was no PG-13 rating that could even be applied to it yet. In multiple times, Disney wasn't going to let a little cheek slide. Rather than leaving the film as it seemed to be, Disney picked to utilize enhancements to include about an additional foot of hair down the length of her back to cover her back. Not the greatest arrangement on the planet, yet it's so inadequately done, it would appear that the entertainer has only a strong mass of dreadlocked hair covering her base, like she crapped into it and never endeavored to clean it. Number 9. Most individuals can concur, anything after season 10 of The Simpsons never truly occurred. Season 30? Try not to be senseless. While we would all be able to think back on those initial 10 periods of The Simpsons with nostalgic pleasure, there's one scene you just won't find on Disney+, or pretty much any streaming stage besides. The scene being referred to is the season 3 debut, Stark raving dad with a visitor featuring part from the ruler of pop himself, Michael Jackson. Despite the contentions throughout Michael's life while he was alive, the scene didn't begin getting any genuine warmth until after a HBO narrative called Leaving Neverland around two men who guaranteed Michael explicitly mishandled them as kids delivered and set the web burning with conversation. With the new claims exposed, the showrunners concluded it is ideal to eliminate the scene from accessibility web-based, expressing they were against book consuming, however felt since it was their item, they were permitted to eliminate things they didn't care for. Number 8. It's genuinely astonishing what amount can change in only 10 years or two. Initially delivered in 1999, Toy Story 2 included a blooper reel of sorts toward the finish of the film of joke scenes made by the artists. One such scene was the Stinky Pete toy taking two Barbies aside and disclosing to them he could get them a section in Toy Story 3 preceding scene he was on camera and guiding the young ladies away in a frenzy. An undeniable suggestion to the projecting love seat of Hollywood where numerous youthful stars were exploited explicitly by executives. While it's possible the joke was eliminated on the grounds that it isn't actually adequate in the present society to make sex misuse jokes in a child's film, there's really a 1-2 punch at play. John Lasseter, the man behind Toy Story 2 and a larger part of Disney's enlivened movies in the 2000s, wound up leaving the organization after genuine charges of lewd behavior were demanded against him. Wouldn't need something to that effect approaching over your web-based feature in any shape or structure. Number 7. Surprisingly, the terrible exercises being educated to kids by Lilo and Stitch has literally nothing to do with bringing a wild frenzied creature into your home and disregarding it with your children. The awful exercise being referred to is quite unobtrusive in case you're not focusing. In a scene where Lilo is being pursued by her sister Nanny after a terrible gathering with youngster defensive administrations, Lilo shuts herself off in a washer to escape her sister. Of all the spots she could have shrouded, the artists picked one that was really a genuine peril to kids watching who may get a similar thought. To redress this, the film was refreshed to have the washer become an organizer, and the entryway she took cover behind turned into a pizza box. It's a strange visual decision, however obviously done to forestall any issues of cases that children took in the thought from utilizing their web-based feature. Number 6. Not all types of control will sound good to us and our American sensibilities. Take the Disney animation Gravity Falls for example. An animation fiercely well known for its utilization of concealed riddles and mystery imagery dispersed all through its scenes, it appeared to be odd that when it came to Disney+, one of the most conspicuous images all through the entire arrangement was absent in the principal season, the logo on one of the principal characters' caps. To make matters more bizarre, the image was noticeable in the screen captures to every scene, except not in the scenes itself. The maker of the arrangement even told in by web-based media confounded by the apparently silly change to the show, yet there might be a clarification regarding why it was altered out at any rate. While it hasn't been formally clarified as of composing, the show had the images eliminated in some unfamiliar nations in light of its likenesses to the Nation of Islam banner, and by one way or another this blue-penciled unfamiliar rendition wound up in the American delivery. Number 5. We may think back affectionately on the sketch of the days of yore when we see them with rose-colored glasses of sentimentality, yet a reasonable not many of them would not hold up to the norms of today with regards to fanaticism. As a rule for these more seasoned kids shows, an admonition will show before it plays to tell watchers that the animation is from a former period and the organization didn't hold on what was appeared, however felt it essential to keep it as it first appeared. Despite demonstrating the admonition, the Santa's Workshop animation from the 1930s didn't actually tail it. What they did rather was removed a scene of a cliché doll of a dark character with enormous lips and overstated peculiarities. The vast majority presumably wouldn't miss this scene from the film, however what makes it eminent is that soon after the scene plays out a gathering of similarly dubious personifications of Asian dolls come in bowing again and again to ambiguously ethnic music. Number 4. Okay, alright, a large portion of us realize that the notorious Easter egg in the Lion King film didn't really illuminate the word sex in the stars like most web gatherings would have you trust during the 90s. It really illuminated SFX as a gesture to the enhancements group behind the film. It was only our filthy personalities and bad quality VHS duplicates of the film pulling pranks on us and making us see different. While we as a whole know reality now in the time of top-notch and very Goliath TVs, Disney wasn't going to face any challenges of the talk enduring, rather picking to eliminate the letters from the adaptation of the film on their real-time feature. Number 3. We truly wish this was a joke title, however it isn't. The 1995 Goofy movie accessible on Disney Plus has been altered to lessen the sexuality of specific scenes. The two most evident models being the point at which Goofy's child Max embraces Roxanne, his affection enthusiasm for the film, his face presses into her chest. For the Disney Plus adaptation, his face is securely inclining ceaselessly from her body. The second more clear alter is when Goofy strolls into a room and inadvertently observes a corpulent lady in her clothing getting dressed. For the Disney Plus rendition of the film, the lady has been carefully given long clothing to cover her body. This is a genuine misfortune for those Goofy fetishists on the web, which is a genuine article you are currently compelled to know exists. Number 2. In a comparable vein as the Lilo and Stitch restriction, this has less to do with kids perhaps harming themselves and more to do with harming others. In the first form of the 2D energized film The Emperor's New Groove, one of the primary characters gets steamed at another character and whips a genuinely enormous stone at them, hitting them in the rear of the head. The scene is happy and it isn't done in malevolence, however a great deal of terrible can emerge out of children tossing rocks. In the Disney Plus variant of the film, the stone has been supplanted with an oak seed. An unquestionably less deadly option than a stone to the rear of the head, yet as one Reddit client called attention to, they purportedly didn't supplant the sound in the scene, so it actually seems like somebody getting clonked with a stone. Simply don't toss things, kids. Number 1. Envision how Untamed Youngsters TV was in the 2000s that we are just barely now understanding. A hit Disney show may have hit the air with one of its principal characters utilizing numerous slurs against one more of the show's characters. We state may have in light of the fact that there's no official word on what is being said in the show, however passing by cuts posted on the web, it's entirely difficult to deny. During a scene where numerous characters are hollering and contending with one another, it seems like the primary character either considers her companion a discourteous nigger or a fruity nigger twice before the contention stops. While it is obscure if that is what was quite stated, the scene was altered in the Disney Plus adaptation to show the characters from behind and the sound supplanted with simply unclear shouting.